Can you guys see this face? Not me, him. That's the face of a Dark Knight who is absolutely fed up with the way we're being treated. Alright? He's not happy about anything. Anyways, greetings everyone. Welcome to a new video. Today I actually wanted to talk a little bit about Dark Knight in general. And no, this time it isn't about PvP because I tend to just make PvP content for Final Fantasy XIV. But no, this time it's specifically about Dark Knight as a class. I wanted to give my thoughts about the class in general and how Dawntrail has pretty much portrayed this class for dungeons, raids, trials, outside content, treasure, whatever, everything. So with the addition of I keep wanting to say Endwalker, by the way. It's because we haven't had enough time with Dawntrail yet. But with the release of Dawntrail, we've had a couple new things. We've had the update Shadow Vigil, which gives us a potency if we fall below a certain amount of HP, or if the effect expires. This is Team, which is just an extra attack after using your Living Shadow. And you have the Scarlet, Comeuppance and Torque Cleaver, which are just your Blood Spillers in combination after using Delirium. You can see when I use Delirium, I have 3 stacks and they perfectly describe Scarlet all over here. And then Impalement is obviously the AoE variant. So in general, Dark Knight hasn't actually changed that much. It's actually pretty much, I would say the rotation is almost still the same. But outside of raids, where I mean, we call it raids, but I've played other MMO raiding, and I think this is one of the first times MMO raiding is just describing one particular boss and nothing else. Raids usually turn out to just be one boss. That's it. Maybe Heaven's Word used to have a little bit more in some cases, but most of the time we're just fighting one boss. And for that reason, Dark Knight is still kind of okay. But pretty much for every other single content, Dark Knight is very much falling behind with everything. And it's honestly very jarring because I struggle sometimes myself to play Dark Knight. Now, I'm also going to be honest, classes like Warriors are a little bit too easy. And I feel like they should also add it or like nerf it a little bit to make it more, you know, active. Because I can pretty much just go as a warrior brain dead and just solo every single dungeon. And trust me, I have actually tried to solo a couple dungeons. I even put myself a challenge to do Mountain Gold because that's my favorite part to do warrior with. And it took a long time. Took a very long time, but it is doable. However, with a Dark Knight, you can pretty much forget it. Unless you do like one pull every single time, you might be able to actually reach it. But otherwise, nah, it's not possible. So I wanted to bring some change ideas, which are not going to happen, but it is a nice hypothetical question I can set myself, and with these answers, I can give myself the idea of, you know what, this is how a Dark Knight should be playing. So, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about for the changes that I wish were to happen, and I'm going to talk with the main thing first, which people have actually mentioned before, so I'm not even the first one. It's about the shared... the shared recast with Carve and Spit and the Abyssal Drain. And we are mostly annoyed by this because back in the day, this wasn't a thing. These abilities existed and they were separate. They weren't sharing any recast. Now, if I have to be honest, the first thing I would do is honestly remove that shared recast. The other thing I would do is the same tactic Dark Knight had, where if you use Unmeant, now it's called Shadow Stride, but your plunge, God forbid we miss plunge already, your plunge, or I guess here it says as well, it reduces the recast time of Shadow Stride by 5 seconds. So I wouldn't actually mind if this ability stays the same, the potency of 240, maybe lowered a little bit because of the requirement I'm going to ask of, and the cure potency of 200 for each mob you hit. But have it so that every time you use Stalwart Soul, as a combo, not just the button itself, you are able to remove 5 to 10 seconds of Abyssal Drain. Because in normal raiding and stuff like that, if you're just fighting one boss, you're not going to be using Unleash and Stalwart Soul at all. And it's not even going to be the meta in order to use Abyssal Drain. No, these are mostly just for dungeons. If you're going to use these, you're going to be able to, after like 4 or 5 GCDs, you'll be able to use Abyssal Drain again. And that makes it so that you're being able to heal yourself just a little bit. Now, granted, the cure potency is still not that great. I have noticed the Basal Drain doesn't really do much. It's like I get that HP back and I lose it within a second because they hit that hard. But honestly, I would definitely have it where the combination of Stalwart Soul is able to reduce the recast time of a Basal Drain. Because this whole Unmending and Shadow Stride, they can remove that. It's fucking pointless. Especially because you get 2 Shadow Stride charges. It's ridiculous. The other thing I would maybe change, and I believe this is mostly because of the PvP equivalent, is to have it where you either... I'm giving options here. As if I have a choice. Or as if my choice matters. Where you either get like 5 to 10% damage reduction if you stand in the puddle. Or if you have it to just give some cure potency regen. Or maybe, but I hate copying everything. Because it's also hard to not... Like, I already kind of dislike the whole homogenization. I can't say it. All the abilities feel the same. This thing I'm going to mention right now is based on ninjas. So with ninjas, people that are in the Salted Earth, their movement are slowed. But instead of having their movement slowed, it might also be a nice idea to have it where everyone who enters into the puddle does slightly less damage. Whether it's 5% or 10%, it might be better for the mobs that enter within the Salted Puddle to just deal less damage overall. Or have the cure potency. Don't do both things because I think at that point you'll be a little bit too overpowered. But I'm trying to think of ideas to just make it a little bit more fun because I'm not trying to make Dark Knight overpowered. If anything, currently it's underpowered in that type of content. But I just wanted it to be fun. Because whenever I do dungeons, I'm stressed. I don't want to be stressed. I want to have fun. So yeah, honestly, have it where... Because the recast time is 90 seconds anyway. What are you going to do? You have like one pull. And then the second pull, you probably don't even have time to cast it again. So you maybe have time to use it 3 or 4 times at max within the dungeon. And it's not even that great. It just makes it feel a little bit better. I would also change Dark Missionary in general. I feel like this whole reduces magic damage taken by self and nearby party members is very like... You don't always have the choice to do this. I would either choose to have it where pretty much the whole party gets like 10% of their maximum HP extra as a shield, sort of. But otherwise, I kind of feel like this is not that useful. I tend to just not use it as often. I do feel pretty powerful if I notice this attack is going to be magic and I know I can protect my party with it. But outside of that, I just feel like it's kind of meh. Living Dead is still kind of fine. I don't feel like I want to kind of remove anything about it. I just wish it would have been more known, because the sound Living Dead makes compared to 600 mobs attacking you, it gets drowned out, and healers don't always notice you using Living Dead. And I have it very often where if I don't use a macro to let people know I use Living Dead, they're still going to heal me. And even then, people still sometimes heal me. So it's very annoying to use this ability because every other invuln pretty much works pretty well. Dark Mind, I would actually I would choose to remove this whole reduce magic vulnerability and either make it a life-stealing ability, which fits the Dark Knight aesthetic, and have it like... I mean, in a way, you could translate it as getting 200 or 300 cure potency every time you hit an enemy, but you could make it where... I don't even know why I have my headset on, truthfully, because I'm not really going to do anything in the game. But it could either be like, maybe just have like 10 or 15% damage buff for like 10 to 15 seconds, but then again, a lot of abilities work like that. But then have it as well, like just the cure potency, and... Instead of calling it 300 cure potency, just call it 300 lifesteal. Because I feel like it might be nice, or do it maybe 100, where all your weapon skills, so not your abilities, all your weapon skills do 100 extra more damage when you use this every minute. So instead of 300, or just lower the potency to 240, stuff like that, and then make it 340. But in this case, it would be 400 potency, it would be 480, and then it would be 580, and every time you hit them, you get 100 cure potency, 100 cure potency, and then this one would give you 400 cure potency because you already have the 300, and it adds up. it's not as much, and it's only real useful for bosses, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But listen, I just want a lifesteal mechanic in Dark Knight, please. That's the only thing I'm asking. I just want some lifesteal. But honestly, the other thing I would want to change is the Blackest Night. And while I don't actually mind this whole 25% totaling targets maximum HP and using mana, even though I'm kind of against it, it would be much better if the recast time is up to like 20 or 25 seconds. Maybe 20 seconds, not make it too long. And the duration itself is 10 to 15 seconds. Because sure, with mobs, this gets pretty much popped immediately. However, in boss mechanics and stuff like that, you don't always tend to pop it, and you miss a whole rotation out of it. You can't use your Edge of Shadow because you missed out on the 3000 potency, because you misjudged an attack, or because it's like level synced content, the attack isn't as powerful as you thought, and it's never gonna pop. So either make it so that the totaling damage percentage goes up, or you add something to it that I wouldn't know. Think about it. It's your own fucking game. Or have it that the duration goes a little bit longer. Because 7 seconds is kind of like... It feels very samurai-like. Like the whole... the eye shield thingy that takes like 3 or 4 seconds. I forgot the name of it. But yeah, these are the changes I would change. I think Oblation kind of still... I was highly against it at first, but I kind of enjoy using it in combination with other... other defensive cooldowns. The problem is that Rampart and Shadow Vigils are the only decent defensive cooldowns, because Dark Missionary is kind of pointless for yourself, and Dark Mind is also mostly pointless to yourself, especially because the duration itself is already 10 seconds, which isn't that long. So you essentially have these two, and the Blackest Night if you're lucky, compared to all the tanks, which have way more defensives. And we don't have it. And sure, I don't mind having less defensives, but then make it so that we do way more damage, because right now we're still below. If anything, I think the RDPS right now for Dark Knights are on the bottom. The ADPS is second or third, but for RDPS, we're bottom. So yeah, these are the changes I would think about. Especially Carven Spit, Abyssal Drain, have it not share a cooldown. Stalwart Soul combo should have it where the recast time gets lowered by 5 or 10 seconds for Abyssal Drain, so that you can use the heal in dungeons more often. Have it so that the Salted Earth does less, where the enemies do less damage, or you get more protection, and all the party members that drop into it, that's fine by me. Even though it's kind of pointless because the enemies don't tend to really attack you at all, or the other members. Dark Missionary should probably just either get removed or just have it where it gets like 10% maximum HP for all members. And then Dark Mind, have it where you steal, just the lifesteal mechanic. Just have it where you do 100 extra potency damage, and that 100 extra potency damage also gets it back. So all the damage you do from the extra potency, you get that as a heal. But it's also based on a weapon skill. This is what I wanted to say because... Oh, actually, these are spells. Fuck. Damn it! I would have said these two could also get some... Never mind. I didn't say anything. Just keep it on the 3 combinations, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's the changes I would make. Because right now we are just kind of struggling. At least I am. I'm sorry. Maybe I suck playing as a Dark Knight. But I honestly would change a couple things. If anything, the only thing that I really want is what I mentioned, is the Stalwart Soul combo to reduce the Abyssal Drain. But then it would obviously be better to remove the shared recast, so that you also don't get rid of the Carve and Spit cooldown, because obviously if you get the Stalwart Soul reduced for Abyssal Drain and they're still sharing a cooldown, that obviously Carve and Spit will get removed as well. And I feel like it would probably break something about it. I don't know what, but it would break something. But yeah, these are the changes I would kind of make for Dark Knight, so that your character can play just a little bit better. Because right now, it's not as much fun to play Dark Knight. I'd rather play Warrior and even Paladin, because Paladin is a lot of fun right now. Especially with the current buffs, it's absolutely god tier. I'm telling you right now. But they've forgotten about him. They've forgotten about me. Anyways, that's the changes I would like to see at some point in Final Fantasy. I'm going to leave it here, though. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Yeah. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care and peace.